Hi, I'm Taku, and I've spent over 10 years telling my stories to thousands of kids across Australia. Now, I'm making my first kids' TV show, but here's the thing. I don't have a lot of money, I've never made TV before.
Please explain.
And I've never even been to film school. Yeah, I know. It sounds ridiculous, but that's why I'm doing this podcast. You'll hear how I'm working with the best in the business, how I'm finding the money, and all the behind-the-scenes stuff no one tells you about. This is 2 Words with Taku. Let's learn this making TV thing together. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about authentic voices. And this episode, I really want to focus on how I have realized that I can only speak from my experience as a Black, female, African-born woman living in Australia, trying to create content, trying to write stories. But then my stories involve community, they involve different people, they involve different languages and cultures, and all of these areas and communities that I cannot speak for or about because I haven't necessarily lived those experiences. And I really thought it would be important to do this episode because I have had so many people say to me, do you feel like Australia's racist? Do you feel like, we need more diversity on TV? Do we need more Black voices and stories told? And, all these really hot topics that are, you see them on the political debates, you see them on TV, all of those things. But I guess I realized that the same way that I have said, sometimes I feel left out or sometimes I feel like there's not enough space for me. I think I've also been not, I haven't been more aware of other communities that perhaps I'm not including. Where am I going with this? I guess with the show that I'm creating, I've got these 6 characters and they're just a mix of unique kids from different worlds, different lived experiences. And I realized that I needed to have people in the writer's room who can inform those characters, those voices, and those experiences. And I went to a conference called Make It, which is run by the Australian Film, Radio and Television School, AFTRS. And at this conference, they had different people who were working in TV, so as writers, producers, assistants, everything that you can think of. And then they had one session where they had some people who were YouTubers or people who do online content. And there was this beautiful woman there, and her name is AJ Clementine. And when I saw her, and she had her tripod and a little phone and camera, and she was saying, what she does with her YouTube channel. She was speaking and presenting on this panel. I was so intrigued. I had so many questions because AJ is a transgender woman. And so I had questions more from, I was just so curious about why she tells her stories, how she tells her stories. And so I said to her, please, can I sit with you and just, I want to hear more about you. I want to understand. And then also, if that's something that we want to try and include in our show, would you be, interested in coming in as a consultant and also as somebody who can contribute, stories or anecdotes or just, share your experience and add that authentic voice to some of what we're writing. And AJ was so amazing and so generous. The first time I sat with her, I think we sat for maybe 3 or 4 hours. And she is the only person in the whole wide world who has convinced me to drink bubble tea. I know this is a really random side note, but those squidgy balls, the gelatin, whatever it is, and the tea and the big fat straw, I can't deal with it. But that day I was just like, okay, I'm open, I want to try, and it wasn't so bad. But I digress. So yes, I could carry on about this, but let me tell you a little bit about AJ from her official bio, and then a lot of my questions you'll hear in the interview, and then I'll say a little bit towards the end of this episode as well. So AJ Clementine is an Australian creator known for being an LGBTQI plus advocate for the community. She's also a vlogger who often shares life experiences about being transgender, whilst also covering lifestyle and fashion content. This year, AJ was featured on the Barcroft TV YouTube channel for the My Trans Life series and walked the Mardi Gras parade with Instagram in Sydney. She has been a featured creator at VidCon Australia in 2017, 18 and also 2019. AJ is just, she's lovely. I love her. So here is AJ Clementine. So can you tell us about yourself and your work?
Yeah, of course. So I would define what I do as like content creation and like a bit of LGBTQI plus like advocacy and just like trying to provide like visibility for a space that is like needed. Like I want to do as much as possible with my time and like what I'm doing at the moment to create like visibility for trans people, because I've realized as the time has gone on and that I've been like creating content and like doing modeling and like acting and all those kind of things like that, how being visible is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives people that kind of, hey, like that's me kind of feeling that I needed in high school, because I didn't really have many people that I could be like, hey, that's me, and like relate to, which is so important. Like I can't stress that enough. Just like having that one person that can put into words how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's just something that I just try and think about every day.
And so for the listeners who can't see you at the moment, how do you identify, or like, how do you identify? Maybe that's the way to ask.
So I'm a transgender woman, and like I identify with being female. Like I don't like saying that I identify with being female, because I just am. And that was just like what it was from the get-go. Like I feel like identify kind of puts in this, like I chose to be that way. Like I'm choosing to be that way. And that's like not like I mean, some people will feel like they identify as something, but for me personally, I'm just like, I'm female. I was like, you know what I mean? Like I was biologically born a male, but my brain is female and I needed to transition. Hence I had gender dysphoria, and that is a medical term which is needed for a trans person to transition and feel more comfortable in their body. So that's what I did, and I documented that journey, and I've just been really real and open and trying to be like authentic as much as possible with my truth, and conveying that in many different forms I can. And so that's me.
And I think what I really appreciate about you is you're so kind in how you respond to some of these questions, because I think I still have a bit of fear around asking the wrong thing, or like how do I say this, or how do I actually find out. And it was so good having you come and be part of our writers' room to share your story, so that we could understand about language and definitions from your mouth and your eyes, speaking on behalf of the queer community, because I think there's still so much that people don't know and understand. And so even me asking how you identify is because I was thinking, oh wait, what do I say? I mean, just even trying to have manners and double check, how would I introduce you? So I would say AJ is a transgender woman. And she does all this amazing work and blah, blah, blah. And so I think, if it's okay, can I just ask then, in terms of, you say transgender woman, how, what does the transgender, like adding that to woman mean? Because you said, you just say, you're a woman. But then you also say you identify as transgender woman. So what does that mean? And I guess I'm asking for people who wouldn't know how to ask or what that means.
Yeah. So just having transgender as a label just puts in the emphasis that I have transitioned, and that's a part of my identity and it's a part of my life. And like obviously I had the option with going stealth, which is like a term that is in the trans community, with just being able to, if you're passable enough, you can go stealth and just like not tell people that you're trans and just live your life, just being under the radar and like kind of just pushing your trans identity to like the corner and not being like it's not about like not being proud about it. It's just about because in today's day and age, people might not be so accepting about it, and like it's about eliminating that fear of judgment and all these questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I did that for like a small portion of my life, but I realized that instead of just being a woman or just saying, oh, like, or not saying anything because like people didn't see anything else, I felt like the transness and my trans identity is so important, which, like I said before, that visibility is so important. So that's why I will say like I'm a trans woman and passionately say that. And another trans woman might just be like, I'm just a woman, you know what I mean? It just happens to be trans, and that's okay too. Like, I will say that as well. Like, I'm not just trans. I'm not just such a trans girl who talks on YouTube. There's so much more to me, but when I'll tell people who I am, like that's a part of who I am, and there's no denying the fact that I did transition, and a transition is a huge like part of a trans person's life. Like it's not just an overnight kind of thing. So it's something to be like proud of and know that there's so much strength within that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even the way that I first approached you was because I knew how much I didn't know. And what fascinated me was how you'd taken to YouTube to then document that process, and also, you know, giving insight into what that world looks like, and even that transition process. And for us, you know, with the show, we wanted to obviously try and have more sort of different stories being included. So, you know, the main character is an African Australian girl, but then I also realized, I've got a lot of friends from the queer community, but I don't know what it's like, you know, being a young person within that community. And so seeing your work, I was like, whoa, that's a whole world of people who are actually sharing that stuff. So my question is, what made you decide to start the YouTube channel, and then what's come out of that? What's come out of doing that?
I started because I liked creating things in general. Like I liked editing and I liked creating videos, and I was doing that in high school, but I was mostly doing like fashion related like videos, like of my outfits, and like if we had, because I had a school uniform, but if we had like a free dress day, for example, I would like show a few outfits, and it really excited to show like my sense of style, because I was in that like social transition stage. I didn't have like hormones yet, because at the time you had to go to family court in order to receive HRT, hormone replacement therapy. But and that was just a scary process to me, so I was just going to wait until I was 18. But I just kind of like was pushing that like thought of like I can't really validate or say that I'm something until like the transition actually begun, which now when I look back, I'm like, my transition began when I was like changing my wardrobe and like, you know what I mean, presenting like the way that I wanted to present. Like, but because I didn't feel like my medical transition was like started, I didn't feel like I could really talk about my experience, which if we went back now, then I would know that that's something I shouldn't be afraid of. But there wasn't so much information like back then, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And so much things have changed so much since I've been in high school. So there was probably like one trans person that I would watch, and his name is Sam Collins, and he like made YouTube videos, but he was just like any other like guy YouTuber around that time, and like he like came out as being trans and was going to keep that a secret because like he was growing pretty big and he didn't want his followers to like unfollow him because like there wasn't really any like trans people around that time. But his followers were so accepting and he started making trans related content, and I was like, wow, like there's a space for that and there's like a need for it. Like seeing how people reacted and being like, wow, like we need someone to talk about these kind of things. I was just like, okay, like I'm gonna do it. Like once I'm comfortable, I'm gonna work up the confidence to like speak to the camera, because I rarely did speak to the camera when I made videos. It was more so just like voiceovers, or just like I was really insecure and just like choosing the angles I wanted to do. But yeah, I was just working up my confidence to talk in front of the camera, and when I started to see the reaction that it got, then I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this and keep sharing more of my story and like kind of remove that layer of like, is this oversharing or is this too personal? Because like it was helping like so many people. And then when it came to 2017 and I was invited to the first VidCon Australia, I had someone's parent come up to me and she was like in tears, and she just thanked me for like providing her with information that she couldn't like gain anywhere else. She couldn't find it through like people in her life or like friends and stuff like that. It just wasn't really known. And she said that my videos helped educate her on her child. And yeah, she was just like in tears, and I just hold that to this day of like something to remind me of why I do what I do. And yeah, you don't expect to have someone's parent like be in tears and just thank you for what you do. So yeah, I hold that close to my heart, and it's a constant reminder from that point onwards that I love what I do, and I love that it resonates with people, whether they're trans or not. Like there'll be people, they'll be like I'm a minority, and like feeling like your friends, or just feeling like there's so many people out there that are just okay to express who they are and okay to just like live and breathe authenticity. It makes people like safe and feel okay.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely your gift, because you have a lot of light around the way you speak about your experiences. But even when I asked you that question, some people could have gone off and gone, oh my gosh, now, I go to VidCon and everybody knows my name. I've got thousands of followers. You could have done that. But I love how you kind of pulled back to the heart of what you're doing. So around helping people have those conversations, be more understanding, and then have access to information from the very people who are living those experiences. And one thing that I remember when we caught up, you talked about how much support your family had given you throughout, all these times. And I thought that was also quite beautiful, because I think we talked about how there's still a lot of people who don't have that support from their families. And they struggle with, having those real conversations with the people around them. So I wanted to find out, why do you think then so many young people take to social media to show and express their themselves, their truths? Yeah. Why do you think that's kind of become the thing?
I feel like it's because we've started, I feel like the younger generation, because like I'm on the cusp of being Gen Z. So like I can kind of, like when it comes to my little brother and sister, I relate to them more than Gen Y, being millennials. And I can see like that their whole, like I can see their whole way of being brought up was by the internet, like the way that they speak, or the way that they relate to, or they associate things with like other things, is all because of the internet. And as much as like parents these days and just like the older generation are trying to understand it, it's going to be difficult for them to fully grasp what the internet has provided to these younger generations, because like as much as they may view it as being negative and there's so much dangers of the internet, I feel like there's been so much good with what has been brought to them, because it's made them care about things. It's made them express themselves. It's made them be able to like advocate for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like take for example like the climate crisis and all
Greta.
of those kind
Oh
of
my
thing. Like
gosh.
this, yeah,
Isn't she
like these.
Jeez. Yeah, sorry.
She's amazing, and like it just shows that these younger generations find their voices online and they can actually speak. And whether they can't really do that in their daily life, or like they can't, or I feel like they can really say things to the older generation because they will feel like they're always going to be right. You know what I mean? They can take to the internet and finally get their feelings and views out. And obviously, if you post something, it's like always going to be there, whether you delete it or not. But it allows them to have this like trial and error and explore who they are, and like it's got this easy access to this whole bunch of different identities, especially on YouTube, where they can relate to and feel like if they're alone at the moment in their current situation, they can feel like once they get out of their house or get out of high school, those kind of things, they can find people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they know that there's options to travel the world or like work towards something, or like they have access to like groups and stuff like that. Like Minus 18, which is like a youth organization here in Australia that's like for LGBTQI plus youth under 18. Like you have all these communities online that you can reach, find out like when's the next queer formal or like concert or whatever their event they're putting together, and it's just there, like easy for them. They can do it in secret. They can do it however they feel they need to. It gives them that independence, which I feel like the other generations wouldn't, which is like that whole hush hush. You don't speak about those kind of things, and we don't talk about that kind of stuff. Even when it comes to like mental health, like the younger generation have changed and like paved the way to just being open about that kind of stuff and being real about it. Like when it comes to my parents, they're always just like, oh, you deal with that on your own time, so then you walk out the house and you need to act like this. But no, like we're all human, and you know what I mean? Like we all carry baggage, and like we all know that bottling up that kind of stuff is not good. So yeah, I love that this younger generation is being more expressing and like feeling their emotions instead of like trying to not feel things, because we already see the dangers of like toxic masculinity and all of those kind of things, especially within boys. And it's a new time. And I feel like if I was to recommend anything for anyone who's curious about what's happening in this like generation and what's happening with the youth these days, is to watch HBO's Euphoria.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna write that down.
Zendaya plays a lead in it, and she was like a Disney star, and this is like a big role for her because like it's really intense, and there's like lots of nudity, and there's lots of like themes that teens these days resonate with. Like it might be like too dramatic for people, and they might be, wow, it's actually happening. But these are real stories that has happened, more so in like America. But yeah, lots of teens are resonating with these characters, and it's actually the truth of what's happening these days. And when I watched it, I was just like, this was similar to my high school kind of situation, and the dynamic, and it's portrayed in a way that is scary, and parents might be like, oh my God, I don't want my kids to be exposed to this kind of stuff. But like, it's the truth. Yeah. Like this is a day and age where we can't like pretend that 12-year-olds are like being sent like pictures and like nude things and all those kind of things like that, and they got that curiosity and stuff like that, and they're doing that in secret. Like there's no like what would we rather do? Like pretend that that's not happening, or actually be open about it and speak about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually be informed about it, because I guess if you know, then you can keep talking to people about it and finding more information. And,
Yeah.
I think about myself in my childhood. I grew up in a very strict religious family. My mom was super strict, and there were always these, boundaries to what I could talk about, what I could do, who I could hang out with. And then as soon as I left for uni, that was it. I was just like, off on my own tangent and stuff. So my mom is she's living with my 17-year-old sister now, and kind of going through the same issues with her. And I'm trying to say to her, look, you cannot fight social media. You cannot fight 2019 and how young people communicate and talk and how they want to be. So, there's a lot of fear that I think is then almost pushing people even further anyways. So I think it's important for shows like Euphoria. I haven't watched it, but if they're the ones that you feel young people can relate to, then we need to see more of that. And it's actually good that you talk about that, because I was going to ask about the web series that you've got coming up called Phased. Is it Phased?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about that and how that came about?
So Phased is like a queer web series which is set to be filmed next year. And it's a project I'm so excited about because it's based on a true story. Like, it actually happened in Melbourne, but it's being filmed in Brisbane. Mm-hmm. And it follows these teens in their final year of high school that are trying to make this queer formal happen, which is something that, like I said before, -18 have done across Australia now. But they started in Melbourne, and in 1 year that they held their queer formal, they did everything normally, and a bunch of lobbyists bought out the tickets in secret to try and make the formal not happen.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so this was all over the news and stuff like that. Like, I remember I was probably like 16 when it happened, and I was kind of on like the edge of like, I want to go and do something with -18 or like go to an event, but I was so scared because like that kind of like being in a situation where you're around people like you was kind of like the truth, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's kind of you're going to see everything that like is going to be your life. So I was kind of afraid. I was more so trying to be in secret and all that kind of stuff like that, which is, I'm so glad that's different these days now. Like, there's no embarrassment around these kind of things. Mm-hmm. But there was a bit of that embarrassment, and especially if that was on the news, I was just like,
gosh, yeah.
I was so scared. And so that happened, but the lobbyists didn't realize that they actually contributed to funding the formal and making it
better.
Yeah, making it bigger and better. So
okay.
The formal still happened, and it's about these kids that are going to the formal, but the lobbyists still went to the formal and they protested outside of it, and just showed their hatred towards why they didn't want that to be a thing. Mm-hmm. But there was this beautiful moment where a bunch of LGBTQI plus elders stood out the front with angel wings, and they tried to like barricade and block out all the hate that was being done outside the queer formal, so that all these teens can go and enjoy their night. And I think that's going to be so beautiful to portray. But I'm so lucky that I get to have one of the main storylines in the story. She's a girl who's just like living her life, and she has an epic love story, which is going to be so much fun to portray as well, because there's literally none, like there's no kind of love stories for trans people out there in media or like any movies or TV shows where it's not so intense or like shows so much of like, oh my god, you can't be with me because I'm trans, you know what I mean? Like all of that kind of stuff like that.
It's like full, so, like the other, like it's either black or white, and there's no nuance within that.
Exactly. And I feel like it's because it is like written or told by people, like older people that are looking on these situations when they're not, like, you know what I mean? Like it's not so much told by trans people themselves and what's actually like these days for trans people in like high school and stuff, because people are being more accepting towards it and knowing, like they have more knowledge around trans people. So it's not like this taboo thing, like, oh, like the trans person.
Yes.
So yeah, it'll be cute to portray that. And she's just like this, it's going to show, her journey with like that, but it's also not a huge plot of her, character development, but it's also going to show her dealing with like gender dysphoria, which is going to be really important to portray. And the way they're going to portray it is, for trans people to resonate with. Like, it's more so not to educate, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be there for people to be like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I actually
like,
do.
It's more so like if when trans people watch it,
they will know. Yes,
they will know what that is. And if people are confused, then they can go and educate themselves on that.
Yes.
So, because I feel like that's another thing that's done, that it's like people usually write trans people to entertain people's curiosity.
Yeah.
And like, that's also not really tasteful, because like these are people's lives.
Yes.
And it's like, it's up to us to check ourselves, because if I'm confused, if I don't understand something, I will go find out myself. You know what I mean? I'll watch like historic things about that said group, or like all those kind of things like that. It's not like a character's job to like be everything. And if people are confused, and that just shows that there needs to be more characters conveying different plots and stories that just happen to be trans. But yeah, it's going to be amazing to see a trans person as a lead as well. And yeah, I'm just so excited.
I mean, I think that's what's exciting me, because I mean, you referenced Euphoria, which is an American show, and this is also part of, you know, what we're trying to do now with our shows, to just tell the stories of people here, young people here, and have that visibility for all kinds of different stories we haven't seen before. So I'm really, really, really excited for you, because even when we met, you know, I just felt like you have so much more to share, and your videos and your content, it's so creative that, yeah, it's exciting to see that it's going to grow beyond just, you know, the YouTube channel or the social media stuff. It's going to go beyond that, and that's what we want to see.
Yeah, and like I even told you when I came in for that workshop that like I was so passionate about acting as well. And you're like, oh my God, you can like act. And I was like, yeah, like I love acting, and I'd love to like do acting. And I was just like, when I got this role, I was like, holy crap. Like I was just wanting like a cameo or something, like one line to be like, hey, like I'm in this thing. But yeah, I just feel so lucky to be able to, really get to delve into this character. And plus, I spoke with like the writers a lot as well, like building out this character. And there's going to be scenes that actually happened in my like teen years that are going to be written into the show. So that's going to be so crazy, because like I can say like that happened. Like when people say, wow, that's crazy, it's like, yeah, that actually happened to me. Like that's a real thing. So good. It'll be so good.
And so yeah, I guess sort of ending off, where can people find information if they have questions about how to connect with the queer community? And I'm saying the queer community because last time we saw you at the workshop, we said, what's the best way to describe that group of people? Because, you know, people sometimes honestly get the letters mixed up. And I remember you saying, no, you can just say the queer community. Okay, so I'm putting that out there for all the listeners. So if people have questions though, what's the best way to find information or ask what they want to know? What would you say? What would you recommend?
If you're curious about like younger people and like about like your child, or just like want to inform yourself about the younger generation with the whole queer community, then Minus 18 is got lots of resources. On their website. I mean, there's my channel. I speak more so with just transgender related things, but there's lots of information there. If you go back a year or so, where I talk about coming out and like parents and high school and just like the science behind being transgender as well. I feel like that's a really important video that I have as well. That is something I recommend people to watch, because I've like put all the information and like resources in the description on like more about the transgender like brain and like all the research and just all the details on that and explaining gender dysphoria.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
and also just like things like Kids Helpline as well. Like I find that's a really good resource where it has all about sexuality, gender identities, like everything. And they have a whole section where it's like for parents to go and look,
Okay.
or carers, or anyone really. You can even look at the information that's there for like teens, and it's pretty relevant. And yeah.
That's so good. I'll put all those links in the show notes so people can have a look, because that's what we want, is people to go off and just read. And I keep saying, you know, if people have questions for any of the guests, they can also contact them or me.
Yeah.
And so where do people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah, so everyone can find me at AJ Clementine. So you can just search me anywhere you like, and I should come up. And I'm open to discuss and talk to anybody about anything, really.
And last question, because we're working in TV and media, and we definitely want more of these stories being shown, do you know where we can find new emerging writers who, you know, from the community who might want to come out and tell their stories or be part of the writers' rooms? Where would we find them?
Oh, that's a really good question. I wouldn't really know how
Okay.
to answer that. I mean, because it's like, I don't think there will be like a little spot where everyone's just hanging out, where they're just all queer writers. I feel like it's more so just like listening in and seeing people that are willing to talk about these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they will come and speak up when they want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure, but
or maybe
like,
even I was thinking maybe later on, I know definitely we would love to have different writers on the show, and I was even thinking we're still going to put call outs for writers, because the other thing is most of the people who have stories that they want to share or need to be told might not have had writing or TV experience. So part of it is also to bring those people in so that they can train in the skills to screenwrite, to produce, because like me, I've never made TV. I just have my story, but I've learned how to write for TV. So perhaps maybe later on, if we're looking for people, we might come to you and say, hey, maybe you can put a call out and just see if anyone is interested. Because I think just hearing you speak is making me think, I would definitely love to have some writers on board who can write from that experience.
Like I do know that one of the writers, and one of the main writers of Phase, she is a queer writer, and she's like young, and she's amazing. Like she's developed most of the script, and she actually has a short film on YouTube that has like over 1 million views. It's like an Australian love story between two girls, and it's amazing. Like she's probably like one of the best like writers I've ever like met. But,
what's her name?
Yeah, her name is Zoe. Wait, I'll get you the exact.
And by the way, listeners, if you can hear my baby crying in the background, she's just here for moral support.
Oh no, she's like, what about me? Interview me.
She's been so great. She's just listening, playing on the mat, rolling around. It's wonderful. But I think she's...
her name is...
Yes, go on.
Her name is Zoe Lee Blake. So Zoe Blake.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's good for anyone else listening. I'll put links up so people can find her as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for this chat. I'm sure we will have many more in the future. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on to the show, AJ.
No, thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you.
You take care. Bye.
You're listening to 2 Words with Taku. If you like what you're hearing, please rate, review, and recommend the show.
You see what I mean? She's lovely. She's so lovely and so kind. And sometimes I felt so uncomfortable, both in this episode and even before when I've met her, asking questions so, I want to say naively, because I'm like, I don't know what's the correct language. And when we had that writer's room with the workshop where we'd invited AJ to sit with us and just tell us her story, oh my gosh, she just taught us so much language, difference between gender and sexuality, being sensitive to young people, and just so much information that I thought was so important. So I think to end this episode, I just want to throw it out there that don't be afraid to go and meet people and ask people, and make your intentions very clear as well. I think with me, I'm very open and honest that, look, I don't know. I want to learn. Please teach me. I'm sorry if I offend. I'm not sure, but I really, really want to know, and I want to understand. And I always go in with love. I think that's my thing as well. It's just, everyone's a person. I just want to love them. I want to understand, and then I want to share that story. And so I think if you are looking to write stories that aren't yours, don't improvise them, don't make them up. There are so many people who can speak into that. There's so many people who would love to teach and to share. And then also, it's a way to honor people, even financially. So AJ came through as a consultant, so she invoiced us for her work, for her experience, and I loved that, because I know personally how many times I've gone to places and they just want you to speak, and that's your time, that's your it's work. It can be work. So I just want to say, if you are going to ask people into your writers' rooms or into your shows or your projects, really have a good, honest conversation about your intentions, but also how you can value them, and how they can also, feel just as good being part of that experience. And so I think for this episode, I think that's pretty much it, really. I just wanted to highlight AJ as just one person out of the group of, maybe 8 or 10 people that I invited into the room to speak and share their authentic story. If you have questions about this episode or anything else that I've been podcasting about, you're welcome to email me. I am taku@taku.com.au, and I'll put all my contact details in the show notes, and also I'll put links to AJ's work and social media links as well. So thank you for listening, and here's to more writing and creating and producing and making magic and learning. Bye.